So if you go back, man, I really like making these analogies. I think taking people back to like, talking about the internet and Web 2.0, because we just lived through it. It's the most, probably the biggest part of our lives these days, social media, and then how we distribute media, how we communicate. If you go back, now that the dust has settled, and we look back at this internet thing, right? And we ask, what was the, 30 years later, like, what was it really? What was the internet? What did it actually do? Right? It wasn't. Oh, I can like do online banking and I can order like crap off of Amazon and have it shipped next day. What did it solve? It solved the communications problem. That's what the internet did. It solved the communications problem. That was the fundamental piece. Everything else on top of it is kind of like, shades of gray after that. But it's like the internet solved the communications problem. So if here we are like I said, in the first or second inning of the blockchain of Bitcoin or whatever you want to call it, looking 20 years into the future in retrospect. So going forward to go backwards, what did blockchain solve? It solved the trust issue. And trust is a really, really big piece here, because right now the problem is we cannot trust Facebook. We can communicate all day long. I mean, I can set up a signal group and put a bunch of my friends in there. We can talk about whatever we want, right? But the thing is that Facebook has co-opted the user experience. They've got the critical mass. They've got everybody there. It's the feeding trough. And then once you have that, it's really hard. These network effects are really hard to dismantle. But if you look at the fundamental problem with Facebook, it's that there's a trust issue. We're trusting them. We put our trust into Twitter. We put our trust into these social networks, these centralized networks. So if you look at blockchain, you go 20 years in the future and look back, you're going to realize that blockchain solved the trust issue. There's no longer this ability to edit things or take things down or like DMCA things. Like all these are, even in my company, we talk about, people ask us, investors and lawyers usually ask us about intellectual property. Like, well, are you going to patent that? I was like, it's open source, bro. And they're like, yeah, but like, you got to protect yourself. I'm like, no, if you're fully into blockchain like I am, you live in a post-IP world. I mean, there's like these massive paradigm shifts. I mean, like there's these thought exercises, and geez, I mean, I hate to say thought crimes, but like, you start realizing that like a government is just an organization like any other. It's just an organization of people. And then there's the quippy quote about, yeah, but they have a monopoly on violence. Mm-hmm. There's that piece. But really, you start looking at things much differently. And like, so in our vernacular, we don't say dollars anymore. We say government tokens. They're just government tokens. Or like, we don't say text messaging. We say NSA chat app. And it's like, once you start to reframe those things in your mind, it like, the world starts to look really different. I mean, really different. I mean, like these lines that are drawn on maps start to become like, what is that? I mean, what if I subscribe to a digital government or an ethereal government that exists only on a blockchain through something called a DAO, which is a really, really cool, complex area.
I'm feeling
research,
like Neo right now.
Yeah, but this is the way out of the system. Like,